Hello, welcome to the Broop and Phoenix podcast. So
What's up, man?
this is Phoenix. Say hello.
Hello.
Alright, so we'd like to talk about the Orlando shooting. And okay, I'm just gonna put a disclaimer, it was all completely fucking tragic and terrible. But there's a difference between grief and insanity. Now, there's people obviously like posting memes that are talking about it in a not so kosher light to some people, making fun of it and such. And this happens with every issue. Everyone gets pissed off when someone else thinks something's funny about it. And I mean, yeah, it is real tragic, but I mean, part of grieving is getting over it. And you gotta get over it.
And they're calling it the worst, the worst terrorist attack or the worst shooting in history? Or what?
Yeah, they're calling it the worst terrorist attack. And the thing is, terrorism by definition is definitely someone going and scaring a bunch of people by maybe killing or maiming them. But terrorism by modern definition is coming from another country, not being a citizen of the country that is being terrorized and terrorizing the country. This guy was homegrown. Completely homegrown, born in New York from what I hear.
It's just really, it's terrible. Like the general, homophobia isn't gone by any standard. We've still got to fight this. We've got to help. We've got to really focus on instating laws that help protect the LGBT, because it's still happening, and it's just shit. I've gotten really much to say about it other than that, but also I wouldn't call this necessarily the worst terrorist attack in history of America. I mean, there have been plenty of others, technically, of quote-unquote terrorism, such as the original terrorism, which is the murdering and, just the slaughter of the Native Americans, for example, or other things.
You could even argue that the genocide of many, many cultures by the Catholic Church, or at least maybe not full genocide, but definitely toning down how many of those people are around. You could call that a genocide. It's not the worst genocide, it's not even a genocide. It's not the worst shooting we've experienced. Well, it might be the worst automatic gun shooting, but it's definitely not the worst attack we've suffered.
Yeah. And I would say, yeah, sure, put stricter laws for gun control, and I'd say don't make it as easy to get a assault rifle. An assault rifle is a little bit overpowered. I definitely agree. Normal guns are good enough for doing the job for whatever, but yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, look at Australia. They took all guns out of Australia, and the gun that costs, I think his name was like Omar or something. It cost him $1,000 here on the Australian black market, which is hard to get to begin with. But then you'd have to pay for the same exact gun $34,000. $34,000. That's a lot of fucking money. This guy wouldn't have done it if we didn't have guns. He might have went in there with a machete or a knife, but he probably wouldn't have gotten as many people.
Now, some people are saying that we should ban guns flat out, and I'm not saying maybe we should. But I would say we don't have to necessarily. We just have to have better gun control.
Oh, and the fact that he went into a gun shop and had a history of mental illness and still got a gun. I mean, if we're gonna have guns, we should
definitely have a mental illness screening. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just a background check in general, criminal history, mental illnesses, anything like that.
Really, what we've said anyway, it's pretty much all been said by anyone else. But yeah, like also the media overblowing things. Also, like the gator attack on the little boy. Like it's terrible that he died. Yeah, but now people are all like, "Oh, we gotta hunt all the gators, and they know what they're doing." And it's like, no, it barely bit him from what I remember, and it didn't really even eat him. It just tested to see if it was food, wasn't, and then
Yeah, basically, it's just like us going and picking berries and going, shit, this berry does not taste like my food, and spitting it out. I mean, you're killing thousands of small organisms when you do that. You're killing, thousands of bacteria that, could be helpful to the environment. You're killing a lot of things when you do that. Now, I'm not saying that we can't eat berries. I'm saying this shit just happens. It's tragic, it sucks, but shit happens.
Well, then, any more stories you want to cover that are on the more morose side, or you think we're done?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're done.
Alright, we can pull up some... on the next section, we can do some silly stories that we have found. Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned.
In like a second. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast of Broop and Phoenix.
Yeah.
Okay, so our first story is a giant gob of Gorilla Glue pulled from a dog's gut. Apparently, the Gorilla Glue was left out in the open near where the dog could reach it, and the dog just ate that shit up.
What it sounds like to me is originally he probably dumped it over.
Yeah.
And got like a little bit of it and swallowed it and went through his intestines, because they said it swelled up like crazy big in comparison to how much it started as.
Right.
So I have to assume it was a small amount, not like the entire jar.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. So I can imagine something like Broop here doing something like that. He just finds the glue and he thinks it's syrup. He just drinks it and it's like, oh yeah, that was good. And then he just gets a giant gob of it in his fucking stomach.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Next story. Let's see. So, an X-ray technician finds a family jewels inside a suspect's rear end. So apparently this guy was trying to steal some jewels, and he decided to try to sneak them out through putting it into his ass, but he got caught. And it's like, what if you just decided to you had to sneak it out, but what if it was like a really sharp pointy jewel, you put it up your butt, oh.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem the best way to transport things.
No, it doesn't. Alright, here's another one right here. A Thai man apparently was bitten on the penis by a python that crawled up through his sewers.
Man, that's fucked.
Yeah, that's just fucked. But of course it has to happen in Thailand, I mean, really.
I mean, that sounds about right.
Yeah, pretty much. I've got nothing much to say on that, but yeah.
Yeah. We should do an exiting thing.
Yeah, we should.
Let's come up with one.
Alright. So, I was Phoenix. I am Phoenix. Still Phoenix, of course. And this is Broop.
I'm Broop.
And this is the Broop and Phoenix podcast. Thanks for listening to our dumb shit. Goodbye.